Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to RemyFIT Radio, where you can learn my philosophies on health, performance, and lifestyle optimization that I have learned from the years of experience as a health and performance coach. I'm your host, Brandon Remy, and let's get into it. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I've been wanting to do this podcast. Other people have told me I need to do this podcast for the longest time. So here we are, finally doing it. So just a little bit about what this podcast is going to be, a little bit about me, and what you can expect in the upcoming, weeks, months, and years. So I really wanted to do this podcast because I can talk forever about health and fitness and, hunting, fishing, anything related, anything that I really enjoy. I'm pretty good at talking about it. And that's obviously what a podcast is, talking about things that you enjoy, and hopefully others enjoy that also. And more importantly, hopefully others learn something from it. So obviously this whole podcast is going to revolve around health and how it relates to performance. But as many of you know, that there's not one way to get there, right? 2 + 2 = 4, but so does 3 + 1. Right. So what I think is the best way to get there, somebody else might disagree with. Right. And we're both right and we're both wrong. So I want to get that, off of my chest right off the bat, that this is my idea of fitness and you don't have to agree, and that's fine. Just be open-minded and, like I said, there are more than one way to get to the right answer. And we don't even know what the right answer is. We just know that we want to get better than what we are today. This is going to be a little bit of, my own thoughts and just things that I've been personally working on. But I am going to also have a bunch of other guests on, other trainers, coaches, gym owners, talking about things in the fitness world, right? Like more specifically inside of the gym. How to train, and I'm going to have nutritionists talking about nutrition, but it's also going to expand way past that, right? We're going to be talking mostly about what I consider the 4 pillars of performance. So we have movement, aka the gym, mindset, sleep, and nutrition. So I think that we are doing a pretty good job at the movement and nutrition side of things, right? More people are into the gym, into being healthy and fit, eating correctly, whatever that means to them. But I think that we are lacking in the sleep and the mindset aspect. So hopefully this podcast is going to cover all of that and a lot more. But I really want to kind of show people that there's not just one way of fitness. Right? You can be fit and go to the gym every day and eat, X, Y, and Z, whatever diet that you follow. But that's not the only way to get there, right? There are people who, live in the backcountry of Alaska and are more, quote unquote, fit and in tune with their body than somebody who is, a high performance CrossFit athlete. Right? Or just like an everyday CrossFit athlete, right? Like I've personally met people that live upstate that can run up and down mountains and make me feel like a little bitch. And I'm by no means out of shape. So just a lot of my life experiences with other people like that, who you would consider, by judging them by how they look, you would consider them not in the quote unquote best shape. But you tell them that there's a deer at the top of the mountain, and guess what? They're beating you every single time. So this has opened my eyes and my brain really to think about like, how the hell is this person doing that? How are they consistently beating me up this mountain when, they might not train as much as me. They definitely don't eat as good as me, and they don't even think about fitness. They just do, right? And it's because of their intuitive approach. And I've learned a lot the past year or two from a good friend and coach of mine, Brian Costello, with his original intuitive health and performance, right? Now it's, I think, known more as the 023, the coaching certification course. But it started off at, he might even still have his podcast up, Intuitive Health and Performance. That's the name of it. I'm sorry. His podcast is Fortress Radio. But just, regardless, it's built into us, right? We all know how to get there. It's just, now we live in a time of technology and, people have to sell things to make money. And you can't sell being healthy. You can't sell thriving. I mean, you can, but it's not as good as selling someone, oh, you're injured. Like, let's get you out of that. Yeah, a lot of these people are just like intuitive and like in check with themselves. And it's kind of led me down a rabbit hole of, wondering what have I been doing the last 10 years in the gym? Like, have I been wasting my time, or has it helped? Has it hurted? So just a lot of things that I still don't even know and that I'm still trying to find out. And hopefully this will be the avenue to bring that all to the table. So as I'm finding these new things, I'm sharing them with you. And, we're all going to get better together, right? I mean, if you listen to this, like, this podcast is going to suck and you're going to be like, wow, this kid is fucking terrible. But eventually my podcasts will get better. And just like somebody who's trying to lose weight, eventually they will lose that weight. Maybe not the first day, the first week, the first month, but eventually they'll do it. Consistency pays off. And I plan to be consistent with this podcast, and hopefully, like anything, consistency will pay off and I will get better and bring you more interesting content. Like I said, not everybody likes to just live in the gym all day. And I mean, me personally, I don't like to do that anymore. I used to love it. I used to be in the gym, 2, 3, 4 hours a day. Sometimes I'd go double, in the morning, at night, or I would literally come home, make a protein shake, and then just go back because I had nothing else to do. And that's what I loved to do at the time. But, growing up and having more responsibilities, having to make money, and, being the quote unquote adult that I'm supposed to be has changed that, and just I've grown out of the gym. And not to say that everybody should grow out of the gym, but just me personally, I have grown out of the gym. For me, being in the gym is kind of a drag now. It's like, it's something that I feel like I'm forcing myself to do rather than, back in the day when that's all I wanted to do was be in the gym. So hopefully this podcast can like shed some light on some other areas of fitness and, just really on it says it best. It's total human optimization. And that's really what we're after. We want to be the best human being that we can be. And if that means going to the gym 7 days a week, then yeah, go to the gym 7 days a week. But chances are that's not what it means. The human experience, right? Our experience here on earth is meant to be enjoyed, right? It's not meant to be stuck at work from 9 to 5, come home, eat a shitty dinner, and then just do it all over again, right? We are meant to experience life and to enjoy it. So that's, overall in a nutshell, kind of what the podcast is going to be. It's going to be, like I said, health and performance the main topic, but it's just going to be different avenues to get there, right? Some traditional, some not so traditional. So I'll tell you a little bit about, my background and my story. For those of you who don't know me, I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but my name is Brandon Remy. Obviously, I'm the host of the RemyFIT radio. And so I always grew up an athlete, right? I played soccer from when I was 3, and I think I stopped playing in like 9th grade. And then in between that time, I've played literally every single sport. Not every single, but I've played like basketball, hockey. I played hockey a long time. Obviously soccer, lacrosse. I've done archery. I was in the Boy Scouts. I've done a lot of different things. I've even been on a bowling team, or a bowling league, I should say. I started working out when I was like, like around 13 years old, with so my brother's football coach at the time, he got me and my dad into the gym. We used to go to the gym with him, and that's kind of how it started. And then in 7th grade, I started wrestling, and I mean, I guess that was around the same time as when I started working out. Not really sure about that, but I don't know how old you are in 7th grade. Somewhere around like 13 or 14, 15. I don't really know. So regardless, I started wrestling 7th grade. I was working out when I was like 13, and so I was doing that, up until high school. High school started like really getting more into wrestling. Figured out that I could actually be an athlete. Like I was always like I wasn't always a good athlete. When I was younger, I was like fat and out of shape. I hated running. Like I actually vividly remember trying out for a soccer team, and they made us jump rope like to warm up, and I didn't know how to jump rope. So I literally just sat there and like cried in the corner. And it was a pretty like embarrassing experience, and I just never wanted to do that ever again. And like when I played soccer and hockey, actually, I was the goalie so I didn't have to run. Like I was a fat, overweight little kid. And then in 9th grade, I wrestled 160 pounds in 8th grade. And then coming into 9th grade, I dropped to 145. And it wasn't like, I wasn't like actually trying to cut weight or anything. It was just me like figuring out like what eating healthy is. Well, so I thought what eating healthy is, and working out and just being more mindful of my everyday practice, right? So I dropped, 15 pounds, started wrestling at 145. And so a little side note, I actually graduated at 160 pounds. So I wrestled the same weight as a senior as I did in 8th grade. Obviously just a little more muscle and not as fat. So going into like 11th grade, being the hard-headed person that I am, I got kicked off of the wrestling team, right? Got into an argument with the coach, and I fell in love with the gym. That was the only thing I could fall back on, was going to the gym, So that's actually really when I started going like 3 or 4, sometimes 5 hours a day, was when I wasn't wrestling in 11th grade. And then I came back my senior year, like super strong, and I did okay, right? I wasn't all league. I wasn't all county. I was like your average varsity wrestler. So that was 2012. I graduated. I didn't really like going to school. I loved to work out. At that point, I loved to wrestle. It was just something that was just like every day I can go and battle and battle and battle. And, like nobody would get mad at you for trying. Like I always wanted to kind of be the best. Like, but then again, I would see the work that other people put in. I'm like, yeah, fuck that. So in 2012, right, I graduated. I went away to school. I went to SUNY Delhi for a quick little semester, and I actually went for environmental science. So, like I said, I'm big, or maybe I haven't said it, but many of you know I'm big into hunting and fishing, right? So that's where the whole environment thing came in, and I really just wanted to be like a DEC officer or some sort of like something with the environment. I really didn't know what I want, actually. And so I went away for environmental science. I didn't really do that great in school because I was skipping class. I was going to the gym instead, reading, bodybuilding.com forums, taking out magazines from the library. And, one day, like my roommate was like, yo, he's like, you know that you can actually go to school for personal training and like for working out. And at the time I had no idea. So this was like a mind-blowing thing. I was like, are you fucking serious? Like what am I doing here? So after that, I went home, came back to Suffolk Community College, and I actually didn't go straight into like the personal training, or Suffolk calls it fitness specialist. And I went for dietetics or nutrition. And my thought process was that there's the old saying, it's 80% diet and 20% working out. So in my head, I'm like, well, I want to help people the most I possibly can. So if I am teaching them how to work out, right, a physical, like teaching them the physical aspect of it, I'm only impacting 20% of their life. And at the time, like, that wasn't good enough for me. And it still isn't. 20% is nothing. So I made the decision to go to school for nutrition. And, I figured, I'll impact the 80% of their life instead of the 20. At that time, I was already certified personal trainer. I just took like I think it was ISSA, like an online, bullshit certification course. So I was like, I could learn the workout stuff outside, like going to the gym, doing it. The nutrition was always kind of like intriguing to me. What actually really made me want to learn more about nutrition was, so kind of backtrack a little bit. When I was in the 11th grade year, when I was really getting into workout, there was a local bodybuilder, and he's actually still a bodybuilder and a professional now. At the time, he was, a younger kid, just like myself, maybe like 2 years older than me, 2 or 3 years older than me. And I would always sit there and ask him question after question. And I was asking him about cutting weight when I was getting ready to go for my senior year wrestling. And whatever, I was eating like, brown rice, chicken, broccoli, the typical bodybuilding diet. And I was feeling like complete crap. Like I shouldn't say that. I was feeling good, but I was bloated. My stomach, I always had like some intestinal problems, a lot of gas. So I was like, yo, like, what's going on? Like, I'm doing exactly what you're telling me. I'm doing exactly what every other bodybuilder does to cut weight. And, why isn't it working for me? And he asked me what blood type I was. And at the time, I had no fucking idea. So I go home, find out what blood type I was, come back to the gym next day, and I'm like, yo, I'm an O positive. And he was like, oh, he's like, yeah, well, it makes total sense. He's like, you shouldn't be eating brown rice. He said, you should be eating basmati rice. And I'm like, all right, whatever, sure, I'll try it. So, the next week I tried the basmati rice instead, and it was like somebody flipped a switch. I had no bloating. I felt a lot better, like a lot less discomfort throughout the day. And it was just like, I was just like blown away. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how does he know, like, that just because of my blood type, like, what I should be eating? So that's what really intrigued me about nutrition, and that you can like just make a simple change like that and like completely change how somebody feels. So fast forward, went back to high school. Didn't go back to high school. I went back to Suffolk Community College, and I was in the dietetics program. So I finished my first year, or the first semester rather, the first like 2 or 3 nutrition courses, and then at the end of the semester, we were going to have to go into the clinicals for the next semester, and we would actually be in the hospital. So they wanted us, well, it was mandatory to take a flu shot and like a couple other, like shots and whatever. I don't even remember what it was, to be honest with you. But regardless, like, I wasn't into it, and I'm still not into the whole, getting immunizations and shots and this and that. So I just told the teacher, I'm like, listen, like, this isn't for me. Like, if I have to take the flu shot, then I'll just switch my major. And I tried to pull the it's my religion card, I don't believe in it, whatever, and they wouldn't let me. So I backed out of the nutrition program, and I went into the fitness specialist. So from the fitness specialist program, came home. Like I said, I came home, went to Suffolk, and it took me a long time to graduate Suffolk, right? So it's a 2-year degree. It took me about like 6 years, because same thing. I wasn't going to class. I was, they're making me take fucking history, art class. I'm like, I'm in a fitness program. Like, I don't give a shit about anybody in the past and what they did. Like, I'm worried about me and my future. So I know it's probably not the right way to think about it, but regardless, I don't want to learn about shit that I don't have to, like, quote unquote, learn about. So throughout that time, I learned a lot outside of school. I was still going to Suffolk, class here, class there, like literally maybe a class, 2 classes a semester. But I learned a lot of stuff outside of school. So I evolved from like a bodybuilding type of workout to more of like a functional training, right? And that's, big thanks to Elliot Hulse and Zach Evanesh, right? I found these 2 guys on YouTube, and I think I must have watched every single Elliot Hulse video. And that was like 2013, right? And then around in 2014, I was finally getting, quote unquote functional, and I could I felt like an athlete. So I tried CrossFit, right? It was like a big thing. And I should say, so I tried CrossFit when I was in my senior year in high school, and we actually at Brian Costello's CrossFit gym that he used to own, CrossFit Long Island. And at the time I was like, why the fuck would anyone do this? Like, this is just like wrestling practice. I didn't like to practice. I like to wrestle. And if you wrestle, you'll understand. So at the time I was like, this is dumb as shit. Like, I'll never do this. So, and then whatever, obviously we circle back around, right? February 4th, 2014, I completely blew out my back, right? Doing CrossFit. Just a little side note, I did not actually get hurt at CrossFit Long Island. This was another gym that I had signed up to a couple of years later. Now, I don't hate CrossFit. I think it's a great thing. I am just an idiot, personally. Me personally, I'm an idiot, right? Because I went in there, I was a high school wrestler. I was in shape, and I thought I was Rich Froning. And I went in there to compete against the clock, and that is not something that you should do. So if any of you do CrossFit or know anything about CrossFit, I was doing ground to overhead. So basically, I was taking a 45-pound plate, touching the ground between my legs, and then like thrusting it up overhead. Not thrusting like a thruster, kind of like a kettlebell swing. And at one point, I kind of just misjudged the rep, and I pulled up as the plate was lowering. And so think of it like I was doing a kettlebell swing with a plate, and the plate was coming down between my legs, and I decided to pull up at that time, right? So I heard 4th of July in my back, right? Snap, crackle, pop, the whole thing. And I dropped right to the ground, got the wind knocked out of me. I couldn't breathe. And then, Mr. Tough Guy, I'm like, all right, I just got to catch my breath. So I catch my breath. I stand up. I didn't really just stand up. I literally pushed myself off of the ground, and I'm standing, and I'm like, I got to finish this fucking workout. Like, this is CrossFit. This is what I have to do. And so the next thing was box jumps and then rope climbs. So I go to jump on the box. Oh no, sorry. I go over to the rope. I climb it, no legs, because I couldn't even use my legs. So twice, up and down, climbed it, no legs. Get down. I hobble over to the box, and it was box jumps was the third thing in the WOD. I go to jump on the box, and my legs just dragged across the ground, and I fell into the box face first. At that point, I kind of knew something was fucked up. I couldn't do anything. So I laid on the ground. The CrossFit coach brought me over a lacrosse ball. I started, just digging in my back and my hips and everything. Just really just trying to calm myself down before I really freaked out. And so eventually, whatever, the class ended. I made my way to my car and went home and laid in bed. And then I didn't get out of bed for the next week. Like, I could just wiggle my toes. Everything hurt. To breathe hurt. To cough. To laugh. To roll over onto my side. Everything was excruciating pain. So I just started just Googling like how to get out of bed without pain. And the funny thing is you really learn stuff when you're hurt, and you learn like what your core is and how much you actually need it. So through all this Googling and YouTubing stuff, I discovered Dr. Kelly Surratt and Mobility WOD. And I learned just a ton from him, and how to get out of pain and just different mobility techniques. And it helped. It helped a lot. it wasn't getting me to where I needed to be, but it got me by. So around like 2000, so during that time, I've tried yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, like breath work, like strictly just breath work, everything, like, and then I realized that while I was doing all that, I was still working out. I realized that working out was not helping me. And that's kind of when I doubled down on my yoga, on the Qigong and all that stuff. Like I was just like, all right, well, if working out's not helping it, not that it wasn't helping it, it was, I could get through a workout, but then I was like, say like my squat, like I was still doing like a squat, kind of like a powerlifting ish functional, just a mess of a routine. And I realized like, yeah, I could squat, I could deadlift, but then I couldn't walk for the next 2 days. Like my back was so compressed and so like angry at me that it wouldn't let me walk. So I didn't want to do this, and I don't think it's a good idea now, obviously, but I just completely stopped working out. And I got super depressed, and just like from doing something every single day, like numerous hours a day, to not being able to do it, it really kind of like fucks you up. So, I learned enough through that time to help others and like, conquer their injuries. Even though like I didn't conquer mine, I was on the right path, Like I said, I kept running into walls. I was re-injuring myself over and over again. I couldn't work. Like I would be able to work out, but then I'd have to take a couple of days off. So eventually I found like a routine that was kind of working for me. Lifting a little different, like focusing real heavy on the core, doing like some more movement based training, a lot of what you would consider mobility. And I learned enough to help others, like I said, through their pain. And that's when I started the RemyFIT Health and Performance. So I built my backyard gym in 2017, and knock on wood, been going strong ever since. So in 2018, I was not injured, but I was tired of being in discomfort after the workouts, after I stopped, like after everything. So that's really when I stopped working out. So like 2016 to 2018, I was still like working out like a little bit. I was doing a lot of, like I said, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, breath work, all that. And I was learning a lot. I was reading, I was watching YouTube videos, listening to tons of podcasts. And in 2018, I was just like, all right, enough is enough. Like I have to fix this. So I just stopped everything. And I really just did core work. I focused on breathing. I learned like how the breath really incorporates into the muscles, and like, like how they, what's the word I'm looking for? Like react, I guess would be the best term, react with the muscles, right? When you flex this, how should you be breathing? And when you're breathing, what is it flexing? So like I said, I focus on core strength and, other forms of fitness like cold exposure, fasting, nature walks and stuff like that. 2018, like I was good enough to start training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I was hesitant at first because I thought I was going to like fuck my back up some more, and like I was just going to fall back into where I was. And that really wasn't the case at all. It actually really helped my back. It helped me get like strong in weird positions, and it really did build my core a lot. Like I said, in awkward and weird positions, not your typical like crunches and stuff like that. So once all that, like I really started to actually feel good, with like less working out and more of these other type of avenues to fitness. It was just like a light bulb moment. Like I realized that people can get healthy and stay healthy outside of the gym. Like we're so bred into thinking that, oh, like you're into health and fitness, like, oh, so you go to the gym. But that's not the case, right? There's so many ways to get there. The gym is just one way, right? It's just one way to get healthy. So I realized this, and I kind of like just stayed away from the gym. And it's not because I didn't want to go to the gym. It's because I couldn't, because I have such like a big ego as a person that when I lift, right, if I deadlift, say, I can't just do 135 for 3 sets of 10 and call it a day. Like when I deadlift, I want to know how much I could fucking lift. You know, like that's why I'm at the gym, is to see the numbers go up. I'm there for a reason, to get stronger, to feel better, right? And sometimes that is not a great thing. And in my case, it wasn't. I was running myself into the ground, right? And here I am, you know, a coach. I have clients at the time, and I just couldn't put it together. I didn't know what to do. So, like I said, I focused more on the things outside of the gym, and, you know, opposite of what I believed in, and it worked. It worked like a charm. Like, I mean, if you know me now, like I don't want to say zero back pain, because I could always, like, you know, bend and move and like make it hurt. But like throughout the day, I don't have any pain. Like my back does not bother me. Sometimes with the weather, or like if I train like say 5 days in a row jiu-jitsu, and they were like all hard training sessions, then yeah, I might feel a little discomfort, a little like soreness, stiffness. But for the most part, I'm fine. I'm like every day 98 to 99% there. So like 2019, I think it was 2019. 2018, end of 2018, early 2019. It just hit me that people need to know this. People need to know that we don't have to be in the gym, right? And I started kind of brainstorming ideas, and like at this time I was like into like the whole business side of things, you know, running my gym. And I realized that it's obviously everybody needs to know this, but the people that need to know this the most are coaches. Coaches need to know and learn that you don't need the gym to be fit. So I started brainstorming some ideas, and I was going to start a online training service called Coaches Need Coaches, right? Kind of like a podcast, but where coaches could sign up and learn these alternative ideas. And it was going to be like, what I think it was like an 8 or 12-week program. And so one of my other business mentors, he wrote a super short, it's called Do Everything All the Time, right? It's a super short business book, and it's like 110 pages, and it just gets right to the fucking point. Like there's no like stories and this and that. Like it's just right to the point. So that was like what the whole course was based on. It was taking this book and bringing it to other coaches. At the time, I was telling my friend and, you know, coach/mentor, Brian, about this idea. And he was like, oh, well, it's funny, you know, like I actually have this thing that I've been working on. And he you know, basically explained to me what the whole 023 thing is. And I read the rubric, and I literally just deleted the document in my computer. I was like, what? Like my document of the Coaches Need Coaches, right? I was like, well, like this guy is my coach, and he already is onto that same pathway, and it was a lot better than mine. So I was like, why the fuck am I going to do this when it's already out there, right? So I hopped on the bandwagon, right? And I took the 023 course. It was probably if not the greatest thing I've ever done for my coaching, like for me as a professional, right? And it was actually the most expensive thing I've ever bought. Well, besides my truck, but other than that, it was the most expensive. Oh, I guess also college too. But so besides college, that was kind of a waste of money, and my truck, which was not a waste of money, but this was in the top 3 things of the most expensive thing that I've ever bought. And it wasn't crazy expensive, but just like for me, you know, I don't like to buy expensive things. nor have I ever had the money to. So it was kind of a hard sell for me. Like I was like, oh, I don't really know if I want to, shell out all this money. But I'm really glad I did. Like it was, like I said, it was the greatest thing that I've ever done for my professional life. So 2019 to 2020, right? I took the 023 course. I fully embraced and lived the lifestyle, right? I talked the talk and I also walked the walk, right? I spent my time in nature every day, all of the other things. And if you're a coach listening to this, I highly, highly, highly recommend looking into the 023 coaching program. They also have a pretty good podcast. It is 023 Radio. You can find that on, iTunes, Spotify, all those, anywhere you listen to podcasts. But so like I said, I lived the lifestyle. I learned all these alternative things, and I put them right into play. And honestly, my life is great. It's not like it's just like there's nothing I would change about my life. Obviously, I'd like to make some more money, but who wouldn't? But regardless, besides that, like I enjoy my life every day. Every day is a new experience, and like I said before, the human experience is meant to be enjoyed, right? We are designed to thrive. Too many of us are trying to survive and not trying to thrive. So hopefully this podcast will shed some light into ideas for you to thrive, right? We are done trying to survive. Survival mode is over. We are here almost in 2021 looking to fucking kick ass, take names, and thrive. Peace. And that does it for another episode of RemyFIT Radio. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed listening, and if you think I can add any value to someone else, please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to learn more or you are interested in my online lifestyle optimization course, head over to my website, www.remyfithp.com, and follow me on Instagram at BRemyFIT.